Imagine standing at a crossroads, a path stretching out in front of you, shrouded in fog, the other basking in the golden light of trust and familial love. Now imagine, if you will, that taking a step down either path feels like it could lead you into a labyrinth of deception and betrayal. This is the story of a decision I had to make, a decision that put me at odds with my own family, questioning the very foundation of trust we had built over the years. It all started on what seemed like an ordinary day. My mother, with whom I've had a complicated relationship due to her past behaviors, made a request that immediately set off alarm bells in my mind. She asked me to send her a picture of my 16-year-old son's birth certificate because she wanted to open a bank account for him to save money in his name. Sounds like a generous gesture, doesn't it? But here's where the plot thickens. You see, my son already has a savings account, one that I opened for him when he was just a baby. It's a safeguard, locked away until he turns 18, a little nest egg for his future. So why did my mother suddenly feel the urge to open another account? And more peculiarly, why would she need just a picture of his birth certificate to do so? Questions raced through my mind, painting scenarios I wished I could dismiss. In a moment of clarity, or perhaps skepticism, I proposed a solution. Give me the cash, I suggested, and I'll deposit it into his existing account. It seemed straightforward to me. This way, there would be a paper trail, clean and transparent, with no room for misinterpretation or foul play. But what should have been a simple resolution instead ignited a firestorm of accusations and resentment within my family. My refusal to comply with her initial request was met with disbelief and anger, not just from her, but from my siblings too. They accused me of being unreasonable, of denying my own mother and them the opportunity to contribute to my son's future. But was I? In the pit of my stomach, I felt the gnawing suspicion that their intentions were not as pure as they tried to make me believe. Let's face it, what banks in England, or anywhere for that matter, would allow someone to open an account with just a photo of a birth certificate? The more I pondered over their request, the more convinced I became that they were after the registration number on that certificate, perhaps to commit fraud. Why else would they insist on a picture and not the actual document itself? This suspicion plunged me into a sea of turmoil. Here I was, torn between the instinct to protect my child and the guilt of mistrusting my own family. It felt like I was navigating through a minefield, where every step could lead to an explosion of consequences. My refusal to hand over that picture became a point of contention, painting me as the villain in their eyes. I found myself questioning everything. Was I overreacting? Was my skepticism unfounded? But then I'd remember the countless stories of identity theft, of lives upended by a single act of deceit. The responsibility of being a parent, of being my son's guardian against potential harm, weighed heavily on my shoulders. It was a burden I chose to bear, even if it meant standing alone against the very people who were supposed to stand by me. As the days went by, the tension only escalated. My mother and siblings viewed my actions as a personal attack, a declaration of war against family unity. But from my perspective, I was the lone warrior fighting to protect my son from an invisible enemy, cloaked in the guise of familial affection. In the end, the rift it caused seemed to stretch wider, a chasm filled with unspoken accusations and wounded pride. Yet, despite the turmoil, a part of me knew that I had made the right decision. The safety and security of my son's future were not negotiable, not up for debate or compromise. So here I stand at the crossroads of trust and skepticism, wondering if the path I chose will ever lead back to reconciliation. But one thing remains clear. When it comes to protecting those we love, sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that ultimately define us. And now I turn to you, dear listeners. In my shoes, what would you have done? Was I too quick to judge, too rigid in my stance? Or was my skepticism a shield, a necessary defense in a world where trust is all too often broken? Let's open the floor to discussion. Share your thoughts, your experiences, and let's navigate this complex web of familial obligations and personal convictions together.